Mi corazón. Oh my goodness.
My heart is beating.
Hello.
It's
Hello.
me.
Welcome back to another episode of 30 Thoughts. And clearly, we are very, very excited for this episode because we have our first special guest.
Yay.
Chrystal Baez is here. I'm so excited.
Yo, you sound like Dykeman. Like we're in
Yo.
Dykeman.
The DJs.
Yo, I can't. That's so true.
Y'all ready?
I'm ready for you.
Yo, we ready to go out to the streets. That's
Right.
it.
Oh
Summer's
my-
out. This is
oh
my
my-
birthday month. This is
Oh
my
my
birthday
God.
month.
Oh
so
yeah, we got the Gemini in the house. We got
Hey.
two Geminis today.
Gemini
But
is
no,
in the
we are so excited, Chrystal, to have you
I'm
on
so
this
excited to be
episode.
here.
You're our first guest. I'm super excited. Kat's super excited.
Yes.
Before we dive into the topic and get full blown into like all our conversations today, do you want to take a second or two to just introduce yourself to the audience and to everyone who's watching and listening today?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having me as your first guest. I'm really,
Hi.
really excited and definitely excited about the topic. But my name is Chrystal Baez. I'm a content creator. I was born and raised in New York, Dominican, and I also
Hey.
consider myself an entrepreneur. So we are here. And like I said, I'm really excited for this topic because it's a little
yeah.
spicy.
Oh,
It's
it
gonna
is
be
spicy.
good.
It's so spicy.
It's going to be
It's so
such a
good.
good one. And today we are going to be discussing fake friendships, more specifically, fake support. We definitely want to thank Chrystal for bringing this topic to our attention because it's a much needed one. Like we
Yeah.
need to
Absolutely.
bring this to the
Definitely.
table and talk about it. And, it has so many layers. So I just want to say we're going to try our best to stick to our 30 minutes here, but I don't know. We're probably going to do like an hour. So just a
Yeah,
heads up.
sorry in advance.
We might go. Yeah, because I think this topic, I mean, the second Chrystal shared it with us, I was like, oh, wait, I got stories for days.
Right.
Kat
I
has
feel like we
stories
all do.
for days. And I know, Chrystal, you know, there's so much that goes into, I think even realizing when you're around a fake friend or recognizing the first time that like, whoa, what
Right.
just happened? And it's like, the veil is on, like, it's revealed or like pulled from whatever that saying
Yeah,
is.
I
Like
think like pulled from
it's
the
pulled,
eyes or something.
yeah, pulled from the
One of
oh my
those
God,
quotes.
one of those quotes. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Do we want to just jump into who wants to go first?
What a conversation.
So
Like,
much.
Well, I can start by saying the reason why I wanted to bring this to attention is because I really think that our friends are the family we choose. It's
Yeah.
very common for people to say that. And it plays a really big impact on your life, like your career, your personal life, your self-esteem, your confidence. So I've been through so much with friends and just people in general. And I see also around me how unaware people are, because people always think, oh, that person has the best interest in me because I have the best interest in them. And so I really want people to understand that friendship is also a very important relationship.
Yeah.
It's a relationship we don't ever really talk about. And I just want to be able to put some light and just help anybody that may be dealing with that. Like, who are my friends? Who are not my friends? How do I handle this situation? And how do I really, deal with that? Because it is just as powerful as like a romantic relationship.
Yes. Yeah, even bringing that up, I read an article about how, and I believe this to be very true, that friendships breakups are a lot harder than a romantic breakup.
I agree.
I believe
And it's
that.
just it's yeah, and I think when you realize that someone wasn't true to you or there's a betrayal in a friendship, like that cuts deep. That cuts very, very deep because to your point, Chrystal, you're in a friendship with someone because you genuinely care for that person. You love that. At least from my perspective. Like
Right,
that's how I
At
see
least
it.
for us.
Yes,
Yeah.
like I'm there to be that's what a friend is. I'm there to support you. I'm there to be there when you need me. We're there for laughs. We're there for good times. I'm not there to have any ulterior motives in a friendship or to be one way to your face and another way behind your face. Like that's not what I'm there. But so it's surprising and it's hurtful when someone does that to you, you know, in
Right.
retrospect. And like, I mean, I've been there. I think everyone honestly has been
Yeah.
there. And I
Right.
think
For sure.
finding ways to deal with that, you know, I mean, like, when did you guys, I don't know if we want to go into it, like, when was that first time when you realized that someone wasn't being genuine to you or someone was being fake to you?
For me, it was in high school.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
hate high
definitely,
school.
yeah,
All the
like
memories are coming up.
it was someone that I really, it was to the point that we had such a strong like friendship that we used to plan our outfits and, you know, back in high school days, like figure out what we were gonna wear, so we could both kind of be like matching or whatever. I was never allowed to sleep over anyone's house, and that was the only person that my mom like let me sleep over. It was very like we
That
had
was like a friendship.
yeah,
Right.
it
That
was
was
like
a
a
friend.
best friend. And you know what happened, I was in a relationship and this person went there, you know, like crossed that line.
That's
And that was
crazy. That's
when,
my story.
yeah, that was when I really realized, yo, that's when my trust issues really became like legit. Like that's when I really started having trust issues with people. And I think, you know, it's so hard sometimes to see, like you guys were saying, like you have the best intentions for people. You come into a friendship and you want to give it your all. You're being honest to like, you know, your friend, and like you're not expecting that. And it almost like it catches you off guard. And I think that's
Right.
why
Yeah.
it's so painful, because it's like, oh, what just happened? And then it's almost
Yeah.
like you got to start all over again. And then you're
Right.
very it that's when your guard, you know, starts just becoming a thing, and you keep your guard up and you become very selective. At least for me, that's what happened. I became so selective of the people that I have in my inner circle. Ever since that day,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. And you know, she apologized, and I couldn't talk to her ever again.
It's funny. I feel like I went through that too in high school,
Me
but it was
too.
never with like it was never with a boyfriend. It was like if there was a guy I was interested in and I would tell my friend, next thing I know, they're dating the guy. So I'd be
That's
like,
crazy.
"Oh." I was like
Right.
and like for me, and when I was younger, I would cut people off very quick. Like I was like, "Bye.
Me too.
I don't got
Me
time
too.
I'm
for this." I was like, "I
infamous.
don't got time for
I'm
this."
still like that.
I feel like the older I got, I don't know, I feel like I find myself giving more chances, which I don't know
I was,
how, I don't know why.
yeah.
I do because I feel like I try to be more understanding of people. I was like, maybe she, I don't know, had a rough childhood or something, or maybe she just
Right.
didn't get enough love or something like that and is looking for it. You know, I try to like empathize. I know that's something I need to work on, to be honest, because you can't, I think as adults, you're conscious of the decisions that you're making and you
Right.
need to understand how that affects the people around you, and especially if that's your friend, if that's a
Hmm.
close friend, you
Right.
know? But I
Yeah. That's crazy you mentioned that, Kat, because I literally went through the same thing.
So you know what it
And
feels like.
yeah, I went to all girls school, so everybody knows everything. Everybody always talks, and for me, it was the audacity, you
oh, the
know,
audacity.
because I already have found out. But
Hmm.
I'm the type of person. Sometimes I like to play, stupid.
Yeah,
So
to
I
see
would
if they
tell.
tell
I do
you.
So,
the
Yeah.
so I did that, and I was like, he slept with somebody in the school, and she's fully going along with it. By this time, like I
Wow.
already
Talk
had
about
proof.
fake.
Yeah, I'm the type of person I need proof. I
Hmm.
don't take people's gossip or words. Like I need proof. And I had tangible proof. So
Yeah.
she's there and she's literally, just going along with it. And that's when I knew I'm like, wow, like people really are just not who they say they are.
Yeah, people do you dirty. I went to I went to the same middle school and high school, and it was a very small
Mm,
school. So everyone knew everyone's business, right? Like it just got around. And oh my god, I don't want to give like too many. I mean, my
right.
friends know,
no,
right? Like everyone
definitely.
knows.
Right.
But I had, like you said, I had proof because one day we were hanging out, and like I knew her family, she knew my family. So her mom was driving us to the movie theater, and like
This is
I got
Girl,
out.
this
wild.
is
I'm
that.
sorry. This is
Yeah,
wild.
like
This is next level fake,
it
bro.
is.
Like
It
this
is
is
like
like
yeah,
This is
it's
like
really fake.
psychopath freak.
I was in
Yeah.
the car and I'm coming out, right? Like she comes out first and I grab her phone because she left it behind. So I grabbed her phone for her. Yeah. And I saw like a text from, my, and I was just like, like
I
I was
was
just,
like, "You've
Right.
been
Like,
caught.
I literally
You've
confronted
been."
her too. I was like, is this my, like I said the name. I was like, is this my,
right.
like so freaking young and just, those times.
Like, not to excuse, like, and like what we went through in high school, but I feel like whatever, fine. Like, I think that's why I was like a little bit more. I was like, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't want to get involved in this type of drama. Like, when I was 18 or 17, I did feel like I was a full adult. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
But now
We
in
all did.
retrospect, yeah, I was like, well, I'm grown. I'm grown. I was like, you are not grown. You are not grown.
Right.
Now being 30, I'm like, oh my God, I was so juvenile. Like I
Mhm.
was
Right.
like
Right.
Yeah.
so,
And
so young. But it's crazy dealing with what we went through in high school, right? Or like what we went through in our younger years
Mhm.
and still kind of dealing with not the same because obviously I don't like for me it hasn't been thank God because listen, off record, on record, if anyone ever tries to come for my husband, oh,
Ooh,
it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
that's
yeah,
It's
it.
a
try
wrap.
me. Try
That
me.
But there are other areas of our life that are very important to us. And I think, you know, the lack of support that you get from friends in the areas of your life, like whether it's a new business venture that you want to
Yep.
do or a new career move that you want to do, or, there's a huge life event in your life, such as like marriage or having a baby or something. And you kind of see how your friends react. And
Mhm.
like, even that kind of really like I remember I
Yeah.
was going through one of the best times of my life. I was getting married. So I was like planning the wedding and we're doing all this house hunting. And when I tell you the amount of friends that kind of just like dropped or
Yeah.
just didn't really want to be involved or like, there were things that they were telling to me and then I was hearing someone else say something
From
else.
someone else, yep.
I was seeing things posted on Twitter that didn't really match what they were telling me. So I was like, what's going on here? And it's such a weird thing to go
Feeling.
through
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
you're generally so happy and then the people around you, you want them to be happy for you. And in a way, I remember when I was planning the wedding, I almost didn't even want to talk about it anymore because it made me feel like, oh, everyone around me is either like going through a breakup or they're going through something and I feel like I almost felt like I was bragging about my
Wow.
marriage. Like it almost felt like, oh, I don't want to throw my happiness in your face.
That was you being
But
a good friend.
yeah,
Right.
but I was like, damn, but I'm only planning on getting married once. Like
Yeah.
this is I'm not trying to do this 10 times in my lifetime, you know? So like this one big moment that I have in my life, damn, I kind of want some of that support or like some genuine happiness for me,
Mhm.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Despite of what they're going through.
Despite of what they're going through.
and
Exactly.
and and that's part of it. It's just a lot of
Mhm.
people can't separate what they're going through and then what other people are going through in their journey.
Yeah.
No.
It's a lot of projection that goes on, and it's really unfortunate. It's so unfortunate because you shouldn't have to diminish your happiness because
Yeah.
somebody else isn't happy, but it's what we tend to do, right? Like
Yeah.
I've dimmed my light so much over the
Yeah.
years because of that. And that's when I had to be like, wait a minute, like this is my light, this is my happiness. That even if I was mad, you would still be mad. So why not
Yeah.
Yeah.
just do what I want to do or express whatever I want to express at that time,
Yeah. A
Exactly.
good, like, I feel like a good friend is gonna be happy for you no matter what they're going through, right? And
And I
like,
did have that at the time. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I saw, like, who really was really supportive during that time and who was, like,
Who wasn't?
absolutely
Yeah.
not, and, like, it was very, like, I saw the self-centeredness of
Right.
certain
That's a
people, and I was like,
perfect
Right.
word.
"Whoa." I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's the same one, like, because I've noticed it, and you guys can like, share your personal experiences with this. But when you like, when you start your own thing, like for me with the influencer work, when I started working with brands, when I started this own podcast, like who were the people that I've seen that like actually came through and supported? Because I feel like you
Yes.
have those people in your life and you have to be careful, but that's when you notice like, okay, who are the friends that are like, or, quote unquote friends that said they would support me in anything that I would do. And when the moment comes, they're nowhere to be found, or like it's some type of fake support where like I'm not really seeing them, being consistent or doing something as simple as like a follow, a like, that I'm not asking for their money. I'm just asking for
Right,
Yeah.
support. And it's so sad because I feel like it's people who don't want to see you win. So like if
Yeah.
they're
right,
at like a certain level in their life, they start telling you things like, "Oh, you've changed," or like, we don't talk anymore." Like all this stuff, and it's like, I'm
right.
sorry,
The
I'm allowed
projection.
to like, yeah, like I'm allowed to outgrow the previous version of
Yes.
myself. It's called
That's
Absolutely.
right.
growth.
Right.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
But it's funny that you mentioned like, oh, you see people like not supporting you. But I also want to say that there is a lot of people that will support you, and
Yeah.
their intention and their motive
Absolutely.
is totally different. So I like to tell people like pay attention to why they're doing it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
If there's a
they could come to
benefit.
all your events. I've had people, I'm telling you, I've had people support me, show me love, like my pictures. Oh my God, you're this, you're that, right? All this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would hear through the grapevine that this person is commenting, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
why not? I'd rather you just be like, upfront about how you feel about it. I'd rather you just be like, oh, I can't, or I don't want to, than you actually pretend or be around me and make it seem like you have all this support. But in reality, you like the attention that comes with it. You like how you benefit. You see that I'm a person like I'm such a giver, right? I have a strong personality, but I'm really such a giver. Like
Yeah.
I'm understanding. I give chances. I'm supportive. I don't mind bringing you into my light. I just wasn't raised like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I've seen it happen where people do that. Like they'll
Yeah.
support you, and when you're doing good and you're glowing up and you have opportunities that pop up, but the minute you fail, the minute you're depressed, the minute you're going through it, everybody just disappears. Like
Yup.
you don't
Mhm.
see nobody, you don't hear nobody, because now they don't benefit from you.
Yeah,
So it's really
exactly.
important to be objective in that.
Yeah, that's like the sad thing about it, and I
Yeah.
think that's where I, in a sense, I don't wanna say empathize. No, I don't wanna empathize with fake people, I really don't. But it's like, to your point, the way, like, shout out to my parents, the way I was raised, and I think even the people I do surround myself with, like with you, Crystal and Kat, like, you know, we were we're honest people. We're true
Mm-hmm.
people. We walk in our truth. Like
Right,
I've always felt it takes too much energy to be one way to you, then another way behind your back. Then
Word.
it's too much for me. Like in my personal thing. So I could never understand why certain people had the time and the energy to do that. But like again, Crystal, to your point, like you're saying they benefit off of you. They're
Mm-hmm.
there when
right,
they need something, where they can gain something from you,
right.
and I think like even and I don't know if we want to tap into this now or later, but how do you recognize when someone is only there for gain?
Well, this is
Yeah.
Because it
this is a good.
because it can be hidden very well.
Oh
Like
yeah. People are good.
I had a friendship, I want to say 5, 6 years, and it wasn't until I had a big life event,
Right,
that I realized like, "Whoa." And then when something big happens, like a loss of a friendship, right? Like a breakup in a way, that's when I start looking back at everything and I was like, "Whoa, I missed so many red flags." Like, how was I
right.
so blind
Well,
to
I think I think part of it, and I want to make this clear because it's just always so easy to blame other people for everything that goes on in a relationship. But something I learned is to just kind of fully take accountability for how we show up. But for example, for me, you know, I grew up in a very turbulent home, and there was a lot of anger within me. And like you said, time after time, people would
Yeah.
disappoint me. And that's because my expectation was so high of people, because
Yep.
I was like that. I wouldn't do that for
Mhm.
you. I'm a good person. I have a
Yes.
good heart.
Mhm.
So those expectations set high, right? But it wasn't until I started working for a cosmetic company, and one of my a good friend of mine, she taught me how to be a little bit more observant, right?
Yeah.
And I was fiery, I was passionate, I was so caught up in my own emotions and in expectations, right?
Mhm.
That I wasn't aware of a lot of things, people's energies,
Mhm.
what people would do. And so through management, I learned to be so observant. And that's when I
Yeah.
started to see, like, wow, people really reveal themselves if you pay attention. But I
Yes.
think, to your point, it really takes a big life event. Like when I went through a heartbreak like 5 years ago, everything crashed down. My whole world crashed down because it was so many things going on. Like I left my job. My job was so stressful. I wasn't happy. There was
Yeah.
drama with friends. Like I started to feel that energy where it's like,
Ugh.
oh, I don't like being controlled. I love wearing crop tops. Like I
Yeah.
love showing off my curves. And once I started to pay attention to, like, the things people would say, like the little comments, how
Yes.
they will look at me, I'm a people's person, so people will come to me from different sides, like, yo, that's not your friend. And so when I hit that heartbreak, that big life event, I shelled in really, like, I got away from everybody.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's when I started to see people for who they were, because I started to see myself and what I was accepting, the fact that I didn't have boundaries, the
Yeah.
fact that I always put other people first, the fact that I was so passionate and I would sacrifice so much for somebody else's well-being that I wasn't giving that to myself. But the minute that I pulled away and I started to really, like, observe people, that's when I knew, like, yo, I'm going through this really deep thing. And even the people that were there for me, I started to just pay attention to their actions, how they moved, how they would treat me, like the instability, the patterns, right? But it always takes a very big life event in your personal life
Yeah.
to see that. And even before the heartbreak, when my dad passed away in 2011,
Yeah.
that was actually the biggest life-changing event that really showed me, like, who was there for me, who was not there for me, who was
Yeah.
benefiting, who was not benefiting. So really, it's when you look in the mirror and you start to learn about yourself
Yeah.
that you start to learn about other people.
That's important that you say that, because, like, I'm sorry about your father, because that's, that sucks. I went through something with my parents too in 2013. No, 2015, sorry. Something was, like, happening in our family, and it was, like, again, a big life event. And when I tell you the amount when I really needed people, nowhere to be found. And it's one thing that, again, I'm like, why did I do that? I always felt, was like, maybe that topic was too heavy for them to deal with.
True.
So I was like,
Mhm.
I just have to deal with it on my own. But damn, it would be nice to have friends. It
Mhm.
would be good to have a supportive system when you're going through something in your family, where there is, like, the potential loss of losing someone or something, heavy. And but then again, I was like, I don't want to bring that to someone. I don't want to
Right.
bring
Right.
You don't want
heaviness.
a burden.
But
Yeah.
Mhm.
but then it was, when I started calling people out on that, because I think at one point I was like, you know what? I'm not empathizing with this. I'm not gonna
Right.
empathize because you can't, like, you're not going through this. All I want is, like, a little bit of, like,
Just a
yo,
simple,
just
like, what are
Support.
you?
Yeah.
check in, see
Yeah.
how
Right.
I'm doing.
Support.
Because if you know that that's already heavy and I'm the one going through it, not you as a friend, can't you just, like, do a little check in? And when I checked people on that, they threw it back at me. Like, and that's when I knew,
Wow.
yeah,
Crazy.
they were like, well, I have my own things going on too. Like, are you asking if I'm okay? And I was like, whoa, you know what? Bye.
A
Right.
quick
They make it
message is
about
Yeah,
not
it was a
a
quick
quick
split.
message is not going to
I
take
was
you
like,
long. To
I
send
was
a
like,
Right.
oh,
text, I'm
I
sorry, but to
was
send
like,
a text message, to do a quick phone
yeah,
call, it's not going to take, like, not even, it's literally 5 minutes
yeah.
of your time. And,
That's when
like,
Right.
I
yeah,
that's when
people are
I, like, really noticed that. I was like,
yeah,
whoa, people are something.
people are
People are
funny. People are funny
People
because
are
they want you to be there for them, but the minute that you
multidimensional.
need them, like,
Yes. That was
listen,
yes.
It just changes everything.
yeah, I grew up also like, like you, Crystal. My mom, she has a very strong personality. And I grew up hearing two things that she loves saying, Dominican moms and their quotes.
Oh God,
And
I know.
I'm gonna try to like say it in English because she says it in Spanish, right? But like one thing she always said was like, oh, I don't believe in like best friends. Like I don't have, best friends. And the other thing that she always says is expect the worst, because like
Yeah.
just expect the worst, like don't, like you were saying, don't have expectations, like just
Right.
expect the worst, and you're going to be ready for anything that comes your way. And I grew up hearing that, and to me, when I went through that, that
Yeah.
part of my life that was like really hard, I took time to really disconnect from everyone, and I took time for myself. And that's when I found my passion of like working out. I found my passion of like, yo, I want to look good for myself, not for anyone else. And I took time to really like observe, like you were saying, like who was really there for me at that moment, who do I need, who do I want around me. Because I feel like another thing is like, like that quote, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. I'm like,
Right.
Yeah.
yo,
Oh
that
my
is
God. My mom
so,
always says that.
yeah, my mom too. And I'm like, yo, that is so true. And it's like, what my mom says is like, piensa mal y aceptará. So like, think bad and like you'll accept like anything bad, right? And I feel like obviously I don't have that mindset 24/7 because it gets a little heavy and like I'm more on
That
the
gets
negative side.
heavy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
heavy.
it's on the negative side, but I think it does also, it made me become a person that I was like, oh snap, let me just be careful with anyone that I have around. Even though I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to like identify. Sometimes people can be so good at covering it up, it's hard to identify their red flags.
Right.
And because one, and I can vouch for this because obviously, one, you're already such a naturally like nice person. Like that just comes
Right.
from you. You know, when you're already naturally giving. You want the best for people because
Yeah.
I feel like we walk this earth in a way of like with the mentality of if I give off good, hopefully that rubs off on that person and then they
Mm-hmm.
can give off some good. And then sometimes I feel like I give too much good to even, and I hate to say it, to someone who doesn't deserve it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
even though I'm like, we all kind of deserve kindness, but damn, sometimes you really don't. Like, you really
But
don't deserve
right. It's interesting
cause
that you say
Crystal.
that because I did post the other day, go where you are loved. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
as what I've learned over the years is to detach from taking things so personal, right? Just
Yes.
Yes.
detaching from
That's
everything.
key. Mm-hmm.
And you said, "Oh, I don't want to empathize." I do empathize with people, but I have boundaries now. And
Yeah.
I've learned that some people you just have to love from far because all they do is take and take and take
Mm-hmm.
and take, and now it jeopardizes you, right? It jeopardizes
Yeah.
who you are as a person. And Kat, I know you mentioned like, you just don't know like how people are. And a lot of it has to do with trusting yourself because we
Yep.
all see the red flags. It's just we don't want to see it because we want to believe the good in people, right? We do this in relationships with, partners where we see the potential. And we do that with
Mm-hmm.
friends too. We
Mm-hmm.
love their potential. We fall in love with who we know they are, right? The good things they show us, and we fail to look at the signs, right? Like I think DMX say like when people show you, like people trust that people will show you who they are, something along
Yeah.
those lines, because they will, to a certain point when you're paying attention, you're going to see like, wait, this person is this way.
Yeah.
And it's also a feeling that you get when you learn to trust your intuition. You're like, I don't feel good around this person.
Yeah. And even
I don't want to
sometimes,
be around that.
yeah, like sometimes because we know some people are really, really good at masking it,
Yep.
Mhm.
but sometimes it does slip. You know, like when you get like a
It
backhanded
always flips.
compliment, or and I think that's when you have to start realizing like the
It
red
always
flags.
flips
Yeah, like I had
Yeah.
a friend for a couple
eventually.
years. I had a friend for a couple years, and then I remember I said something, and I think it was, I don't know, I think wanted to start like a YouTube channel,
Right.
and they said they were like, "Oh, so like what are you, like a blogger now?" And I was like,
Oh, that.
I was like,
Oh,
And you know
yo,
"Whoa!
what?
that's
It's those
jealousy.
little comments.
Ouch, ouch." And then I made
That's
the
It's those
YouTube
little
wait,
jealousy.
comments.
peep this. I made the YouTube channel, and then this person would like leave a comment but wouldn't subscribe. So I'm like,
What?
I was like, this makes no sense. Like, can I get this? Like, and it was like, oh, I was like, she probably doesn't want to see like the numbers go up, or I don't know. I was just like,
Right.
I was
And
like,
it's
oh
sometimes,
my
and
God. Always,
Yeah,
it's
always.
always,
always the
yeah.
people closest to
Because
you,
they
like
don't want
all
to
the
see you
strangers.
win.
And
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
be hurting. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be hurting. I'm like,
right.
Yup.
ouch, bro. Like,
And I used to
damn.
catch it. And before, let me tell you something. Because, like I said, it's always easier to, put things on other people. But, I was always genuine. I was always honest and blunt. But I will say I was always a very defensive person.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when people would make little comments like that, I would cut you off. Like, I didn't even give you a chance because right there I saw, I'm like, no. Or I would react to it. I would be like, why are you mad? Like,
Oh,
I will feed into
I
that
need to be like
energy.
that.
I know. I
And
wish I had those comebacks ready.
What
and you
I
know what? I'm not
do,
like that anymore.
yeah,
Now I'm more calm because now I understand that I'm not gonna feed into your energy.
yeah,
I'm
You're
just gonna
right.
cut you off. I'm just gonna
mm-hmm,
calmly with grace move along. But
Yeah.
that's when I started to feel like, damn, yo, like even when I opened up with my spiritual gifts, I've had people close to me like, sure, like I'm sure you can trust your intuition, like, and those little
yeah,
things, like the facial expressions and the
Mm-hmm.
gestures, like I would just be like, why
yeah,
am I so mad? But then I had to always check myself and be like, it's your expectation that people are going to put out good just the way you do. And it just isn't like that. Like you said, Kat, people don't want to see you win. And I'm a
yeah.
person like I love seeing people win. Like
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it too. I
Me
I
love
just
it. I
too.
love
do.
it.
I'm like,
Because
there's nothing wrong with it.
it makes
Yeah,
me feel like I could do that too. Like, yo, if that
exactly.
person did it, yo, I could do it too. Like, let me get motivated, let me get inspired. And again, that goes back to my parents. Like, regardless of all the crazy turbulence we went through, my parents were never like that. They helped
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody. They would give you the last dollar if they had to,
Yup.
because, like you said, people go through stuff, and oftentimes people are just projecting what they're going through onto you. And
yeah,
so over the years, I've learned to just separate myself from people like that, because that means that their insecurities have much more power over them than their love for me does. And
yeah,
so it took a lot of self-reflection and self-awareness of myself to say, like, why am I attracting these type of people?
yeah. Oh no,
Wow.
Why do
You
I have
got,
these
I got to do
people
some
yeah.
self
around me?
awareness.
Girl, when,
Because like I said,
yeah.
it's
I've been through.
easy to blame other people. And trust me, 99% of the betrayals I went through, it was on the other person. But
Mm-hmm.
then when I went through the process of accountability, I also said, wow, I really allowed it. I allowed people to continue to
Yeah,
low key disrespect me or low key say certain things, even though I will fight back and I'll be combative. I let them stay
Exactly.
around. I let
Mm-hmm.
them way too in without any boundaries. And so I really had to learn boundaries. I had to learn self-awareness. I needed to understand why I was attracting those type of people. And it's because God, the universe was like, you need to see things for what they are, not the
yeah,
potential. You need
yeah,
to see people for what they are, because unfortunately, people like psychopaths, sociopaths, like
They
fake people,
exist.
envious people, haters, all of that exists. It's
yeah,
just sometimes we don't want to see it because we don't want to deal with that.
yeah,
Yeah. And like it's so you're saying so many good points, especially like not taking in their energy, because I was the same way. I still am the same way, right? Like I try to hold myself back. I'm very like expressive. So I remember getting those comments like BB said of like, "Oh, you're like an influencer now," or being around people that would say little comments making fun of it, right? And it actually I would take it personal because I would be like,
Right.
like it would bother me. And
yeah,
like at times I either my facial expression would show it or I would say something back. And I had to learn, because it's all personal growth and it's all about, I was very, I feel like I used to go like into relationships and
Me
not
too.
really, yeah, like
It's
I
just
wouldn't,
mad,
yeah, like right, it's like I wouldn't really find out about like people's signs, or like shout out to BB, shout out to you, because now
oh,
I'm very like, if I was selective before, now I'm like, let me feel this vibe first before I put myself
Right.
in this position. And I think
yeah,
Oh,
that's
you said it
so
best. I
It's
used to be
personal
such a
growth.
social butterfly. I used to be such a
Yeah.
social butterfly. You could catch me in every event, supporting every. I'm a people's person. I love
Yeah.
to connect with people. You know what I mean? Because you can learn from people, you can grow from people. You like, I'm all about experience, and I love learning. So I feel like we learn so much from other people. And I always used to put myself in these environments and like, oh my God, showing so many people love because that's just who I am. And that's when you start to realize, like, oh, I gotta really not just fall right into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Kat, like I just be like, oh, this person is so nice to me. Let me
Oh
just,
my God.
he's my
You
friend
know what's
now.
crazy? You know
Yeah.
what's crazy? Like, I
And
always used to feel like, in a way, I think in personal friendships, yes, I think you have to start building some boundaries. But I remember when I was in the fashion industry,
ooh,
and
that's
I,
us.
that it was very cutthroat, it was very fake. That was,
Mm-hmm.
people throw you under the bus so quick. And I remember feeling like, I was like, I think I'm too nice for this industry.
Yeah.
I think I'm too nice. But one thing I remember always telling myself was like, you know what? No, being nice is who I am. That's who I am. I am a nice person, and I like to be kind to people, even if they don't deserve it. Because I feel like sometimes I start to think maybe you just didn't get enough love when you were a kid. Maybe you don't see enough kindness, and and if I can just give you a little smile today, or like not really take what you say to me personal, or like not, like if you come at me or you're having a rough day and you take it out on me, I need to do my job, or like not my job, I need to make sure that I don't do that to the next person.
Yeah,
Where
I
I don't want to throw that to someone who really didn't deserve it or really didn't need it. And I remember always thinking, like, when I was in that industry, I was like, damn, I have to like change who I am as a person. And it was hard for me in a way, because I was like, I don't want to be um
that person,
closed off, or I don't want
right?
to be like mean to
Mean.
someone, or I
Yeah.
don't want to have to like, now I have to be a certain personality to be successful in this industry. No,
Yeah.
You
that's
know,
not who I am. I like people. I like to talk
Right.
to people, and sometimes you need to break them down a little bit, because a lot of people do have that guard up. So
right,
sometimes it's like, a lot of times it's not worth it. Like, you can just tell, it's like, oh, this ain't going nowhere.
right,
But other
Mm-hmm.
times, sometimes you can find a common ground and like break the person a little bit, where now they kind of understand, like, you don't need to be so guarded. Like,
Mm-hmm.
right,
maybe something happened to you, maybe you also went through like a fake friendship, or you went through like a big betrayal that now you're closed off to everyone. But not everyone is like that, because
right.
Kat, we're not like that. Crystal, you're not like that. So it's like, I like building those friendships, but I wouldn't want someone to like go through something like, damn, you kind of taking it out on me now. Like, I didn't
Right.
do anything to you. Like,
And
damn.
listen,
Yeah.
I work in the cosmetic industry, so I can relate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little bit opposite of you because I was so overly passionate.
Yeah.
And because that is possible. You could be overly passionate. And I used to take everything so personal because I used to pour so much
Yeah.
into the
Right.
wrong people that when they did one little thing or said something, I used to take it so personal because I'm like, yo, why are you coming at me like that? I don't do that to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so working in the cosmetic industry, there's a lot of envy, there's a
Yeah.
lot of malice. People don't want to see you win. People always, I was very combative, like I said, because I was so defensive. I will always defend myself. Like, if you try to say that I got this position because I was Latina, which did happen, I will be like, I worked my ass off. I worked, I did overtime, I did everything that I had to do. So I would defend myself
Mm-hmm.
with any situation, with anybody that tried to come for me. I was so guarded and so defensive that I would be like, I wouldn't even let them try it with me because I already felt like I don't want to deal with that, you
And
know?
your truth. You like,
Right.
no one can like, because I've had that come to me too. And it's like,
Yeah, I definitely know my
I
truth.
I I know where I succeed in certain areas because of things that I cannot control.
Right.
For instance,
Mm-hmm.
being a bit more lighter skin or being ambiguous looking, I know that works in my favor, but I
Right.
recognize that. But I can't take away the hard work that I put into, networking with the right people, putting in, like, even last week's episode, talking about working 23 days in a row. Like, there, you
Yeah.
put a lot of energy in it, but I
Right.
know, like, and again, I think it goes back to your point, Crystal, is like having that self awareness, and I
Mm-hmm.
think
Yeah. Because
living
I'm
in
the
your
first one to
truth.
check myself.
Oh, me
Yeah.
too. I
Me
check
Be
too.
like,
myself,
Yeah.
and I try to
You have
understand
to.
society. You have to, like, I try
yeah.
to understand society as like it is what it is. I try to
Yeah.
see
Right.
it like I understand what it is. I understand that certain people can be a certain way, but I know who I am. I know who
Right.
Exactly.
I am.
I
So,
think, yeah, I like it's funny that you said that about the fashion industry because for me, like I worked in PR, right? And I
mhm.
came across a lot of like
Yes, yes.
managers, higher ups that I looked up to them. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is how I would want to be. The same way that I came across some people that, like to Bibi's point, I was like, no, this is who I am. I don't have to change. I always used to say this when I get the chance to train someone to be someone's manager, like whether it's an intern, an account coordinator, I'm going to be who I am because I wouldn't want to be like a mean person. Like I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
have a
Right.
mean manager. And that's exactly what I did. And let me tell you, the way that people notice, like even though they're like entry level and you're technically on top of them, like managing them, but you're still yourself. And when you have to be like,
Right.
listen, we got to meet this deadline, you got to be strict with them, they appreciate it, but you can be nice about it. You can still be yourself. And the way that people appreciate that and the way that you build
Yeah.
friendships, the way that
And you
build
build a
connections, it
and you build
matters.
a reputation
Right.
Yeah,
too.
But
exactly.
right. And it all goes down to honesty. Like, and I
Yeah.
Yeah,
think that's why I would get so mad is because like I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm an
right.
honest person. So I'm
Mhm.
always going to communicate also. Like I'm a big communicator. Obviously, I'm a Gemini. And I'm so big on communicating every little thing, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so when, like you said, I was a manager too, assistant manager, floor manager, and sometimes I would have people under me that were my friends, but I never mixed business and personal.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
always said like, listen, we got to do this. If you put in the work, I will do for you in the same way I know you would do for me. You know,
Mhm.
because my title doesn't mean anything, and at the end of the day, you're a reflection of me. But yeah, that honesty part is where a lot of friends I notice have a hard time. They have a hard time being honest. They have a hard time with confrontation, right? A lot of people have issues with confrontation, so they don't know how to just be honest about it. They can't deal
Yeah.
with the backlash. They can't deal with, whatever that comes with. And so, for me, fashion industry, PR industry, cosmetic industry, those are tough industries to be in.
Yeah.
You learn so much about people.
Mhm.
And that definitely, I'm sure it helped you, but it helped me look at my friends different,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It
for
it it
sure.
It
it
did.
helps you like build like, thick skin and just like
Right.
tough skin. You learn a lot of things about yourself, about other people, about the world, and
Right.
it makes you it opens your eyes. And the
Yeah.
same goes for friendships. I think having, seeing people that were fake to you or just you thought were really your friend, you thought were really going to support you and they're nowhere to be found, like we said, that hurts, but it also helps you open up your
And
eyes.
I do want to add this part because I feel like it's really important. And I do want to say a disclaimer. I'm not a psychologist, but I do a lot of research. I do so much research. I read a lot. And like I say, I pay attention. I pay attention to people's behaviors, how they move, how they talk, how they walk. Kind of weird, but I observe because people
Mhm.
always really revealed themselves. But one of the things that I learned is that, especially if you grew up in a more turbulent home or instability growing up, is that a lot of the people who you think are your friends are just people that you're bonding with through trauma, right? You
Hmm.
guys both have a trauma that you've been through, right? Either domestic violence, whatever the case may be. In my case, it was domestic violence. And so you attract those type of people. And so you're in these
Yeah.
relationships with friends that also been through that trauma and they don't know relationships, right? Because a friendship is a relationship.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so because I didn't grow up seeing a healthy relationship, that affected the healthy relationship that I needed to have with friends as well, right? Because all I knew was
Yeah.
toxic relationships. So
Yeah.
in those friends, I'm trying to find a good, healthy relationship, but I'm looking at all the wrong things because I grew up seeing relationships as one way. And so oftentimes we're just friends with people that we're going through a trauma with. And so
Hmm.
I really focused over the years. I cut a lot of people out. Like I said, there's no malice in me anymore. There's no resentment. You have to process the trauma. You have to process the resentment. You have to process everything because those people came into your life to help you grow. to
Yep.
help you be self-aware, to help you learn boundaries, to help you accept people for who they are. And so what I do want to put out there is that it's so important to heal your traumas, because oftentimes that's when good relationships come out, right? When you learn to have
Mhm.
that, when you learn to have that relationship with yourself, that healthy relationship with yourself, you start
Yeah.
to automatically attract people that are healthy, that know friendships, that know relationships. And like I expressed to you when we started talking about this topic before, is that last year it was a tough year because I had cut off so many people. I had separated from so many people that I thought were going to be in my wedding, that I thought were going to be in my life forever. And
Yeah.
and which is why I left Instagram, amongst other things. I really needed time to process that and to let go of the resentment so I wouldn't take that personal. And then so the
Yeah.
minute I became healthier, right? The
Mhm.
minute I started to be more self-aware, to change my energy, I'm attracting positive people, bomb
Hey.
people, people that are genuine. Like when you guys complimented me the other day, it's not weird because I'm used to compliments, not to sound like cocky,
Hey.
but it comes with it, right? It comes with it when you're a lifestyle influencer, we all pretty much in the same field. But when you guys said it and it was so genuine, and even the excitement, it was just like, I feel like I'm looking at myself. I feel like
Aw.
I have people that are me. Not to say that you have to be like me, but it's that genuine part. It's that
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I want to see you
Yeah.
win. It feels good to be on the other side of that, because I was so
Yeah.
used to being
Mhm.
the person that pumps your confidence, makes you feel good. I don't, when my friends, anybody could say this. You could say a lot about me, but you can also say when we went out to parties, vacation, girl, if I'm looking good, you have to look good. If I don't wear crop
Yes.
tops, yet I've converted friends to wearing crop tops that they will never wear. And I'm like, no, sis, like you need to wear
And
me.
that
You
and I
look
think that
good.
starts falling into, like, well, I
Hmm.
mean, it's a whole different topic, but even just women
Right.
empowerment in a way too,
Yes.
because I
Girl, don't
think
get me started.
yeah, because I like to just shout you both out real quick because you both have like lifted me up in times when you didn't know that I needed it, where I like feel like, oh, I don't really feel my best, or I have some self doubt here. Or I don't really think that this looks great. And like Kat is like, bitch, you better get on it, or like,
Right.
or you're like, no, girl, like there's something here. Like, and you automatic, I think we already deal with self doubt. So like when
Mhm.
you well, not everybody, but sometimes you kind of just go through the motions.
Right.
But when you have like a circle of friends or just those friends that are there to uplift you, like that
Mm,
makes a world of difference. Like it's
It
like,
it does.
does. It
like
changes
it
everything.
and
Yeah.
I would wish for
Especially
everyone to like have that because I've had times in my life where I had no friends. Like my friends were very in a way like
acquaintances.
not
Mhm.
acquaintances or like almost surface level of like, hey girl, and
Right.
like, and there was
Yeah.
never anything bad, but it wasn't like on a deep level because I was like, I'm afraid of that betrayal again, or I'm just afraid to let people in again because you don't know what people's intentions are.
Right.
Like at
Mhm.
times I get nervous even allowing people into my home because I was like, I don't know what your
Mhm.
Right.
intentions are. I don't want you here. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
like,
Usually.
and it's crazy because when I was a kid, or not a kid, when I was younger, that's all I wanted. I was like, I just can't wait to have
Mhm.
like 50, 60 friends and we all just living a good life and
Right.
we're enjoying life because that's what life is like. I'm here to enjoy it. Okay. I'm here
Yeah.
to
Right.
like live my
And
life, be happy, be around good people. Like that's what I want. I want
you
Yeah.
know,
happiness.
it's interesting because when I started to go into like working for myself, I was a freelance makeup artist, then I went into blogging, kind of stopped because I was so discouraged because I didn't have the support. And, sometimes we feel like we need that in order to progress.
Mhm.
And so as an entrepreneur, you go through so much that people don't see the
Yeah.
doubts, the depression, the ups and downs, the insecurity, the amount of failure
Yeah.
that you go through as an entrepreneur. And even if you're in your career, right, like your 9 to 5 year career, the amount of ups and downs that you go through, you need people around you that are solid, right, that are
Yeah.
healthy,
Yeah.
that are not malice, and also people that are doing better than you, right? Like
Yup.
people that are in the field that you're doing, or even if they're not in the field, they're on the path that you want to be on, right?
Mhm.
Or even associating yourself with people who are into the stuff that you're into. None of my friends understood what influencing was like. So that's when I realized, I was like, I need to change like who I'm around. And not because it's just like you're benefiting off people, but because energy is contagious, energy
Mhm.
transfers.
Yes.
And so
I I I agree with that.
once I started to be around people that were about their business, were about, putting themselves out there, taking risks, being brave, genuinely helping you. Like, instead of making fun of
Yeah.
you, they'll be like, yes, girl, take that picture, but you might want to take it this way. Like,
Oh my God,
when I
yes.
started to be around that, that's when I realized, I was like, I've been around the wrong people
Yeah.
Yeah.
my
And
entire life. But I understand that they came into my life for a reason, and I appreciate,
right.
Yeah.
and I send that love, because those are the best teachers. But
Mhm.
it's so
Yeah.
important as an entrepreneur, if you're a digital creator, if you're an influencer, you need to be around people that are doing what you're doing, that are doing better, and that actually are genuine, because that's who they are. They're like
Mhm.
that with everybody. They're like that if you're
Yeah.
not around. And
No,
so being
definitely. And
around
then
that
if
is
the friends that
important.
you do have, like, who might not be doing what you're doing, but at least like, yo, show support. You might not understand what I'm doing, but bro,
Right.
don't you don't have to like hate or be mean or say things that you know are not favorable to my journey of what I'm like going
Right.
through right now. You
Post
know?
Mhm.
something, sis. Repost it. Show me love. Like,
That's it. That's
I used to
Yeah,
literally
do
it.
it's
that to so
simple.
Literally.
many
It's
people. I
literally
used to do
it's so easy
that.
and free to be
Yeah,
nice.
and I
Like
think
Right.
honestly, like, like having people that are like you said, Crystal, in if they're not even in your same field, people that know something that you don't know that they could teach you and vice versa, you could teach them. Like it goes both ways because it is a friendship is a relationship, is a
yeah.
two-way street, right? And I think
Exactly.
also I went through the same thing where like I was in my comfort zone. So I think that's why I was like with people that, and I cut a lot of people after like high school, after I went to college, I just kept talking to like my close friends. But there were even some of those that I had to like cut because we were just not on the same page in life. Like we were not,
Oh my God.
like
You hit it.
I look at you guys and I'm like, all right, like I know, BB's plans, like, and like her future plans. I know that she has goals. I look at Crystal, I'm like, I know that she has goals too. And like that's where I'm headed. And it feels good
Yeah.
because those people kind of like push you. And sometimes like you
Yeah.
need that little
Right.
like
It's a
fire
healthy
up your
challenge.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's a
need that
healthy
fire.
challenge.
Yeah. So I'm like, I understand like why I made the choices that I made when it came to friends because I was in my comfort zone because they reflected, something that I was used to seeing at home or like
Mhm.
I'm the youngest. I have an older sister and an older brother. And I think for me, where it got hard and where I started like looking for friends, desperately like looking for friends was when
Aw.
Right. It's
yeah,
true.
like when my sister got into a serious relationship and she told me, and I love her and now we have a different relationship, but she was starting that relationship with my brother-in-law. And I remember my mom was like, oh, like she was going out one day and she was like, oh, but take her with you. And she was like, no, it's that, I'm going on a date and like she needs her own
Aw.
friends, like. And I was like, oh
Like,
snap.
damn.
I think that's when it hit me like, oh, okay, so I got to do my own thing. I got to make my own
Aw,
friends.
cat.
Yeah. And honestly, it was for the better. But like, we had
Right.
to, because your siblings are your siblings and like you will have, special memories with them. But you also
Mhm.
need to remember you're your own person. You were born
Yeah.
alone, you
Right.
die alone. So you got to kind of like,
Right.
Yeah,
we
but
Right.
needed that.
you don't wanna live alone, okay? Just
Right. Right. For the
No,
rest of your life.
no,
No.
no. You
But
need people in your
no,
life,
I
but
know
like
what
you
you
got to be your own
mean.
person.
I love that you brought that
Absolutely.
up. I love that you brought that up, because I would go out so much. I would drink, I would party every weekend. I was a workaholic, but I always, like did what I wanted to do, right? Like summer's here, winter's here, I'm going out. I did road trips. I did everything in the book, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, after I went through that heartbreak and I started to change, the things that I wanted started to change, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
we grow. And so it was hard for my friends to deal with that. And it was also hard for me because I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would be in places and I'm like, we're doing this again. Like we're
Yeah.
partying again.
I've
We're
been
Yeah.
drinking
there and
again.
not for
That's
like
all
not
you want to do. You don't want to build.
Yeah.
You
You
don't
don't
want
have
to do
any
business.
goals?
And so you want to do whatever you want to do.
I'm
And I
not gonna
don't
lie.
affiliate with that anymore. Even people who I knew that, would do other stuff than drink, I started to see like, I'm not on the same vibration as you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not on the same wave. Like, you still want to do that, and that's okay. You're in a
Yeah.
different place in your life. And I had to realize, like, you can't take people with you.
No,
And I
you
want to
can't.
remind
Exactly.
all the creatives, entrepreneurs, I want to remind you that you cannot take people with you who don't want to go with you, who don't want to
Mm-hmm.
level up with you. And so when I removed myself from that, it was turbulent. It was
Yeah.
hard because they're like, oh, you think you're better, or they don't invite you to places no more. I don't even get invited no more. And I've learned to be like, you know what? It's okay, because I want to be around people that have a similar vision, have similar values, have similar morals. And so I started to align myself with that.
Yeah.
And it's really important as
That's really, I think, the
creators.
best thing you can
Mhm.
do, honestly, as you grow older and as you, leave old friendships and start new ones, or, look more into yourself and gain that self-awareness. I think it's just, man, life. That's really
Yeah.
life, honestly.
And like I said, it's all you learn to not hold on to resentment. You learn that
Mm-hmm.
everybody's going through through something. Everybody's on their own journey. Some people are meant to be in your life temporarily, and some people are meant to be in your life forever. And people can't deal with the change, but that's life. The only thing
Yeah.
we're promised is change and death. So
Whoa,
it's
deep.
it's yeah, it's
Preach.
it's important to understand that you're going to grow, you're going to outgrow your circle of friends, because you're
Yes.
changing. And so the things that you want, the things that you need, it's no longer the same. But I've learned to also work on my commitment issues, right? Like my relationship, like how can I show up better? Even though I consider myself a great friend, I felt like I still had to learn, how can I be that best version of myself, so that now I can really give them that. And so I had to separate in order to learn that, in order to grow. Because that's really when you learn, when you take that time to isolate and to
Yeah.
just separate from people a little bit, because and now it lets you see things, from the outside in.
I love
So
Mm-hmm.
that. I I
Yeah.
I love
You
that. I
better
think,
yourself.
yeah, I
mhm.
totally agree. I think this was such a good, topic today,
Me
honestly. I
Yeah.
know we
too.
can go on for another
Yeah,
hour.
it's hard
I
because
know
I feel
we
like we
It
can.
talk about so many
But I
things.
feel like
so many
I feel like
layers.
so many impactful and substantial, notes were brought up today, and just things that needed to be said were said. And I think people listening today and watching today, I think they're gonna be able to take a lot from today's episode, because I know I did.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
as I feel
Same.
like I say this every episode, but I feel like it always becomes very therapeutic when we go into like these type of
right,
topics, because
Yeah.
you say things, and then you remember things, and then it brings back those same emotions and feelings. Like, even just bringing up things that I went through in the past, like I could remember that feeling of that betrayal or whatever it was that I was going
right.
through
Mm-hmm.
at that time with a specific friend or whatever. But overall, I think this was such a
Yeah,
good topic, and I'm
like you
Me
said,
so
too.
it was hard because there's so much that I want to say. I've been through so many betrayals that, like you said,
yeah,
were like a heartbreak, and people
Mm-hmm.
that I thought were going to be in my life forever. But I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had. I
yeah,
think people really need to work on their self-love in order to be better friends. And
Yeah.
I think that you should be focusing on being a better friend, right? Because
definitely.
it's karma. Whatever you put out, you get back. So,
I'm
Mm-hmm.
with you there. But
Yeah. We
no,
could only get better.
right.
definitely. Oh, but
Yeah.
this was such a great topic. And
Yes.
Crystal, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
for having
today.
me.
Yes,
This
girl,
was
you were
awesome.
amazing.
This was
This
such a
was
good
awesome.
conversation. Such a good conversation. I'm so happy we had it.
Me too. I'm
But
so happy to be there. Shout out to
yeah.
your podcast. Thank you for having these. No, for real. Like, thank you for having these conversations. It's hard to find podcasts like this, especially as Latina women. It's just really hard to have like a podcast where it's just genuine conversation, about
Yeah,
real life stuff, things that we go through, our perspective, right? Because that's how we
definitely.
Yeah,
learn and that's how we grow. So thank you
Yeah.
I
so much
know.
for having me.
No, thank
I love
you.
y'all.
Thank
Thank you. We
you.
love you too.
Aw, us
Uh,
too.
and as
Okay.
always, thank you to the listeners who are tuning in and liking today's video and are taking something from it. If you like today's episode, today's video, make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at
And leave us
30thoughtspodcast.com.
Yes,
Leave
and
us
leave
a
us a
review.
review. We
We
love hearing
appreciate
Yes.
them
from you
so
guys.
much.
Yes, hit the
And
5-star.
Hey.
and we'll make sure to link all the links down below on the description, and we'll make sure to share Crystal's social and where you can find her at, and her amazing content and her amazing everything you share is amazing. So thank you
Thank
again
you.
for coming on today's episode.
Thank you so much,
Thank
ladies.
you. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hey.